Welcome back. New York Road Runners' vision is to build healthier lives and stronger communities through the transformative power of running, with all types of events such as their NYRR Open Run, which helps build community and healthy lifestyles, and walks held at neighborhood parks in New York City. The Senior Vice President of Events and Race Director for NYRR, Ted Metellus, joins me now. Ted, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Now I understand we got to talk a little bit, and that you have like a really cool history here in the Bronx, especially with your just overall relationship with running. So can you tell us a little bit more about your background?
Sure. I'm a Bronx native, born and raised in the Bronx here. Grew up here, went to high school here, elementary school. My siblings all went to school here in the Bronx as well. My brother actually went to college here in Lehman College. New York Roadrunners was founded in the Bronx, New York, back in 1958, McCombs Dam Park, right by where Yankee Stadium is. Our first president and founder, Ted Corbett, lived in the Bronx. There's actually a street named after him here. New York Roadrunners has deep roots in the Bronx.
That's amazing. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about NYRR and its overall mission? I know I kind of discussed it a little bit, but can you go into more detail about it?
Well, it's identifying the transformative power of running, and not just running, but running, movement, activity, and community. When you're talking about thousands and thousands of people that have partaken in either the TCS New York City Marathon, the New Balance Bronx 10 Miler, or any of the other programs and events that we have throughout the New York tri-state area, there's community that's around that. So as a nonprofit community running organization is deep rooted in us to give back to the community, keep people moving, keep people active, our youth as young as 2-year-olds, our seniors that are out there moving as well. So that's what we do in New York Road Runners.
That's amazing. I'd love to hear that the children, the babies are involved. That's amazing. Definitely important to start young. Now, I'm curious to know what inspired New York Road Runners to organize the Shakeout at St. Mary's event. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. So we have open run programs, as you mentioned before. We have 2 of them here in the Bronx and Soundview and at St. Mary's. That's happening every Saturday. So those walks and runs are there in these communities with the goal of lowering the barrier of entry. So they're free. They're all community-based. They're members of the community. They're engaging with other people out there. It's not just running. It's all about movement and walking. I mean, being a Bronx native is you walking in this neighborhood, in this community is what we do. Whether you're going out to Fordham Road or you're walking back and forth to your supermarkets, it's all about that activity. Well, this is lined up with being able to give people some education and information about how to stay healthy, how to keep moving, but also inspiring the young people as well to get out there and move.
Now, can you talk about the importance of making things like running and fitness more accessible across the 5 boroughs of New York City, and especially, in certain areas where it's a little harder to kind of have a safe space to run and do these type of events?
Absolutely. So what's key into that is, as I mentioned before, lowering the barrier of entry. So our youth programs, our Rising New York Road Runners youth programs are all free. Our senior strider programs are all free. So it's all about being able to get people out there and moving. And what's beautiful is our staff and volunteers, many of them are Bronx based. So they look just like you and I. They're out there getting people moving and active, and we're doing them in their parks and in their communities. So that also helps as well. So many of our races and events are happening in Central Park and in Prospect Park and other parts throughout the city, but being able to have something close to home that you can come out, see your neighbors, see your friends, see classmates and students as well, getting out there and moving is what we do.
Now, how can community members of varying fitness levels prepare for and make the most of, the fun run and the walk during the event?
So that is the great thing. There are different groups that are going to go out as part of the walk based on their ability and skill. Whether you're running, jogging, walking, or strolling, we have different leaders and groups that will be taking off at that point. I think being able to demystify running, because people see it as either punishment for something they did wrong on the track field or on the court, but when you see it as something that's keeping you moving at a young age and even at older ages, people that want to get out there and move themselves, when they are doing that with people in their own community and being able to do it at their own pace, it makes that comfort level higher.
And with that being said, how do we change our mindset about activity? Because it is often associated with negative, like running, people are just like, oh, I don't want to run, or I don't want to do this. What can we do to kind of change our outlook on that type of activity?
Well, it's funny. People see running as, like I said before, some sort of punishment or something that you've done wrong, until you get out there and realize that, okay, it's all about movement. and the benefits of that. And when you realize how good you feel when you get out there and walk around the block, walk around 2 blocks, walk around 10 blocks, get out there and move around a little bit and start seeing that benefit that comes back to your body, and obviously spiritually and physically and emotional benefits that coming from that, that's great. Then when you start getting other people to come out and do that with you, now you're developing that community that's at play. So don't see it as a bad thing. See it as a first step to many steps to something great.
Now, can you talk about some of the amazing partnerships or just partners that are going to be associated with the run?
Yes, yes. So with the Soundview event that will be happening, I'm sorry, at the St. Mary's event that will be happening, we have a couple of city officials that will be there as well, local Bronx officials that will be there. We'll have some influencers that will be there. We'll have one of our Peloton instructors that is a Bronx native, Rad Lopez, will be participating as well. Rad ran the TCS New York City Marathon and will be participating in the New Balance Bronx 10 miler.
That's amazing. And can you just, for those who are unaware, just talk about the open run and kind of like what it means to be a part of that?
So the open run event is really great. When you think about members of your community that are inspiring those around them in action and in movement, that's what the open run programs do throughout the New York tri-state area, particularly with those 2 locations in the Bronx, the Soundview and St. Mary's. Those are community leaders that are there, volunteers that are there that are welcoming you, making you feel comfortable. We have a back check hold area. We check everybody in. We release you as you walk, and you start to see your progression as you go on. You know, those that started walking will start slowly jogging. Those that were jogging are slowly making their way to running, and then it graduates up. Then you start looking at the other road races and events that we have in New York Road Runners and saying, hey, maybe I'll get out there and run one of those one day as well.
Now, just speaking of that, I want to talk about the 10 mile because I do think when you hear 10 miles, it's so intimidating. But, you know, can you just from your experience, what you've seen, you know, what is that experience like?
It's amazing. It's one of my favorite races. Again, being from the Bronx itself, running along the Grand Concourse around Marshall Loop Parkway, not far from where we are right now. It's a really great race. It finishes right in front of Yankee Stadium, right where New York Road Runners was founded at McCombsdown Park. What's great too is it's a little bit of a journey in learning a little bit more about what the Bronx is all about. The Grand Concourse being a major thoroughfare in our community, going through Fordham Road, going through Bedford Park Boulevard, Kingsbridge, making their way around these beautiful park places that maybe many people that are not from the Bronx or never been to the Bronx get to see firsthand that day. What's also really great about the Bronx 10 this year, and we've implemented this over the last couple of years, is a 1 mile component that's tied to it. So the Rising New York Road Runners program, which is our free youth programming, will have a Boogie Down Bronx Kids Run. So it will be for our youth ages 2 to 18. 2 years only doing dashes, and then you build up to doing dashes, a half mile to a mile. And we'll have seniors that are out there as well that will be participating in that distance. We'll have some activities and programs that are happening at Joyce Kilmer Park to learn more about the programs and activities that we have at New York Road Runners, not just in the Bronx, but citywide, but you build to it. What I love about that race and something that goes close to my heart is when I ran this race as a participant, it was always great to see my mom out there cheering us on, you know, and seeing the people in the community welcoming and cheering the participants. And one last thing, too, that's really cool is one year we had an Olympian that participated in our event. Bev Ramos, who was an Olympian athlete from Puerto Rico, came out, ran the race, broke the course record, and she had the most amazing time to hear the sounds and see the people that make the Bronx special.
And I think that's kind of amazing that you shared that because it shows that people from different backgrounds, different levels can kind of be a part of something together. There's no exclusivity that sometimes we do feel when we go to certain fitness places. You know, maybe you feel like you don't belong here. And I also kind of want to touch on again the fact that children are included. You know, what was kind of the reasoning behind that you wanted to add people as young as 2 to be a part of it?
Our youth programming is something that has been part of our organization for decades. We do it citywide, let alone throughout the country. Our Rising New York Road Runners programs are in many schools here in the Bronx as well. So we invite parents and coaches and loved ones to learn a little bit more about the Rising New York Road Runners program, but having it be as part of this event and showcased on the Grand Concourse alongside the adults is a plus.
Now, what opportunities will there be for participants to engage with NYRR leadership and learn more about upcoming events, initiatives, or if they just kind of want to take on a bigger role if they do feel extremely connected to it?
So definitely go onto our website, NewYorkRoadRunners.org, to learn and see more information about our programming and events. The Bronx Kids Run is still open, so if you want to have your youth participate on September 21st, go online, register, get them out there to participate. But you'll see some of the programs that we have again in Soundview and at St. Mary's. Definitely go by and check it out.
Now, I also want to talk about, you know, just the overall idea of like creating community, you know, can you just talk about how running together with other people kind of fosters that community and builds relationship within the community?
Well, you hit it on the head when you say when you show up and you see people that look like you know, and seeing other people of all physical abilities, all age groups that are out there engaging in this as well. It decreases your fears and concerns and increases your level of engagement significantly, and that's what we do year round. As a nonprofit organization, engaging with our community from the ground up is what we do. It's foundational in the changes that we see in our youth and our seniors and on our age group runners as well.
Now, can you talk about, just inclusivity and accessible running experiences for people of different backgrounds?
Yes, yes, yes. So we're very conscious of that, and it's displayed obviously when you look at people like you and I that are out there as a Bronx native, as a child of immigrant parents, being able to relate and engage with these folks. There are so many run clubs and crews that represent these groups as well, which has been really beautiful to see, and showcasing them and having them be involved and create a platform of engagement through that as well. So we have an open door and an open engagement opportunity there to help educate, but most importantly, listen and support.
Now, I also want to add that this is happening in the Bronx, where unfortunately we do see a lot of very high rates of obesity. We just struggle often with health in general. How do you hope that this run and the work that you're doing kind of makes those numbers go down, or kind of like changes the way we view health in the Bronx?
Well, it's year-round engagement. So while we're talking about the Bronx 10 miler, New Balance Bronx 10 miler, it is the year-round offerings that we have with things like the Open Run, with other future events that we'll be having in the Bronx itself. Please show up, be engaged, get connected, don't be afraid. Because when you're out there, you're going to be inspiring the people around you, and that's what's most important. We're not asking you to run fast. We're not asking you to run 26.2 miles. Just get out there and move a little bit each and every single day, because then you'll be motivated and you're motivating the people around you.
And then also, in addition to health, how does running help you mentally, and just your overall life in general?
Yeah, that's the transformative power of running. What it does for you physically, emotionally, and psychologically, and making you feel stronger and ultimately feel better about yourself. And then you start seeing how people respond to you in that same light. That all ties into that piece there. Some folks might be listening, like, oh, this is crazy, but think about how good you feel when you get up and just move yourself just a little bit. Go for a walk around the block, hang out with some folks that are doing your chores by foot. How you feel after that is key. So being able to display that in your communities, lowering those barriers of entry, and seeing folks like you and I that are out there that are inspiring others is key.
Well, Ted, I want to thank you so much for joining us and having this really amazing, inspirational conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you.
To learn more about New York Road Runners and their upcoming events, please go to their website at nyrr.org. Stay tuned. We have more for you right after this.